Good morning, everyone. Yesterday, Mr. Bernier released a letter and sent it to Mr. Johnston. He's the debate commissioner and the person who's decided that Mr. Bernier doesn't qualify to attend the debates. So in his letter, he said, sorry, you don't qualify, but you can give me 5 ridings that you think that you're polling well in, and we'll do some polls, and if you poll well enough, we'll let you in the debates, basically is what that said. And I did a video about that. It's in my back catalog. So now, Mr. Bernier has responded, and this is the response. Dear Mr. Johnston, in your August 12, 2019 letter, you asked me to submit no later than today a list of 3 to 5 ridings that we believe are the most likely to elect a candidate of our party. This request relates to point C, riding level polls, both publicly available and internal party polls, if provided as evidenced by the party and riding projections. In the list of 10 points used to assess criterion 3B, published on the Commission's website, interpretation of participation criteria for the leaders' debates. As a very young party with electoral district associations, EDAs, established in only a few months ago, we have little information about the regional distribution of our support across the country and its concentration in specific ridings. We also do not have the financial resources to conduct polls in 338 ridings to determine whether more than one candidate has a reasonable chance of being elected at this time. In any case, as I explained in my August 13th letter, my understanding of criterion 3B is that it simply states that our candidates must have a legitimate chance to be elected in the general election and not at this time in the election cycle. Obviously, the election campaign could have a huge impact on this legitimate chance, more so for the other reasons I explained regarding the recent political context, including the high level of volatility and disaffection of the electorate, and the fact that the populist parties similar to the PPC have experienced very rapid growth in other Western countries. For all these reasons, the only information I can provide is a list of 5 candidates who are better known in their ridings as public figures, and therefore will start this campaign with an advantage that others don't have. 1. Maxime Bernier, 2. Renata Ford, 3. Mark King, 4. Stephen Fletcher, 5. Cornelio Chisu. Sorry if I've got that wrong. I would also like to provide more information on point F, quote, media presence and visibility of the party and or its leader nationwide. We have queried the Meltwater International Media Monitoring Database to ascertain our media presence over the last year since I left the Conservative Party and announced I would form a new party. Media hits include all Canadian online and print media sources. Party leader name, total number of media hits from August 23rd, 2018 to August 19th, 2019. So not quite a year. Maxime Bernier, 23,518. Elizabeth May, 15,167. Yves Francois Blanchette, 935. Jagmeet Singh, 39,738. Andrew Scheer, 102,000. Justin Trudeau, 385,000. You will note that I received 1.5 times more media coverage than Elizabeth May and 25 times more media coverage than Yves Francois Blanchette, 2 party leaders invited to the debates. I also received more than half the media coverage of Jagmeet Singh, the leader of a party with a long history that currently holds 40 seats in the House of Commons, as well as 1/4 the coverage of the leader of the official opposition. We also compared the social media presence of party leaders. Social media hits include mentions on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, blogs, comments on websites, and forums. Party leader names, social media hits from August 23rd, 2018 to August 19th, 2019. Maxime Bernier, 1,670,000. Jagmeet Singh, 339,000. Elizabeth May, 298,000. Yves Francois Blanchette, 38,800. Andrew Scheer, 2,590,000. Justin Trudeau, 8,580,000. The numbers of mentions I get on social media is considerably higher than Jagmeet Singh, 5 times more, Elizabeth May, 5.6 times more, and Yves Francois Blanchette, 43 times more. I also receive about 2/3 the number of social media mentions that the leader of the official opposition gets. This media visibility is clear proof of the extraordinary interest the People's Party of Canada has generated and its impact on the Canadian political scene and on policy discussions. Finally, the overwhelming majority of media commentators who have expressed an opinion over the past weeks argued that I deserve to be invited to the debates so that Canadians have a chance to hear about one of the important political opinions on the table and make a fully informed democratic choice. These commentators are best positioned to analyze recent political context and draw conclusions from it. I attach a list of these commentaries and trust that you will consider them. Please note that I intend to submit more information before the September 9, 2019 deadline. Best regards, Maxime Bernier. And I'm not going to go through all of these op-eds, but they exist. I actually was going to collect a bunch of op-eds to prove Mr. Bernier's point, but I'm glad that he included this in the appendix. So please go through it, have a look. If there's interest, let me know in the comments, and I will go through it in a video. But I'm not sure I'm not sure I need to, because I mean they're backing up what he's saying, and well, I mean, I've been doing that for the last year. So if you watch my show, you've seen a lot of those, and well, so I'm not going to do that right now, but if there's interest, I will. Here's the National Post reporting on the letter, and I think it's worthwhile to have a look at because, well, it's worthwhile to have a look at. This is how they report on things, and they leave out some key things, in my opinion. Here it is. People's Party outlines seats with prominent candidates in bid to enter debates. The People's Party of Canada made another bid Friday to convince debate organizers they deserve to be included in 2 televised events in October. In a letter to the Leaders Debate Commissioner, People's Party leader Maxime Bernier provided a list of 5 candidates he said were prominent figures in their ridings and would carry that advantage into the campaign. The commission had originally asked the party to provide a list of 3 to 5 candidates it believed had the best chance of winning their races. The commission planned to use that information to help make a determination of whether multiple PPC candidates had a legitimate chance of winning their seats, a qualification for participation in the debates. The party did not meet the requirement when the commission made its initial decision on participation earlier this month, the commission found, leaving Bernier uninvited. The debate organizers did give Bernier until September 9 to provide further evidence for why he should be included, and a deadline of Friday for the list of ridings where he thought his candidates would perform best. But Bernier said in a letter that because his young party doesn't yet know how their support is concentrated in each riding and doesn't have the money for polling to do so, they cannot determine what seats they have the best chance of winning. And at a national convention of his party held in Gatineau, Quebec last weekend, Bernier told reporters in French, "As I've always said, we are a political party that does not poll." In his letter, Bernier also argued the chance of PPC candidates winning would change substantially during the campaign because of a high level of volatility and dissatisfaction of the electorate, and the fact that the populist parties similar to the PPC have experienced very rapid growth in other Western countries. So instead of providing a list of candidates with the best chance of winning, the PPC flagged 5 candidates that they said are better known in their ridings and would thus have an advantage going into the campaign. First on the list was Bernier himself, who currently holds the Quebec riding of Beauce. 2 former Conservative MPs were also listed, Stephen Fletcher in the Winnipeg area riding, and Cornelio Crisou in Pickering-Uxbridge. Mark King, a city councillor in North Bay, Ontario, is running for PPC in Nipissing-Timiskaming. Sorry if I got that wrong. And was also listed by the party. Finally, former Toronto Mayor Rob Ford's widow, Renata Ford, seeking to unseat Science Minister Christy Duncan in Etobicoke North, was also singled out. Bernier also argued in the letter that a number of social media searches and the coverage he has received in traditional media is clear proof of the electorate's interest in his party, necessitating his place on the debate stage. Michael Cormier, executive director of the Debates Commission, said in an emailed statement his organization had thanked Bernier for his submission and will be taking the full scope of the letter into consideration as we make our decision. Opinion poll and polling aggregators tend to show the People's Party receiving around 3% of public support. A Main Street research poll from earlier this month suggested Bernier was tied with his Conservative opponent in Beauce. I scroll down. Even if polling suggests PPC candidates have a low chance of winning outright, whether Bernier will be able to participate in the federal leaders debate depends on the commission's determination of whether they have a legitimate chance to do so. The criteria for what makes a legitimate chance is unclear. The commission defines it as a reasonable chance of having someone elected, but Cormier has said that that does not correspond to a specific polling result, but more a general overview that takes things like fundraising, media attention, and previous election results into consideration. Right, sure. So, I think that what I was talking about, what they left out was specifically the media attention, right? So Mr. Bernier gives a robust list of media attention and says, here are people who said, let me debate. Here are people who are agreeing with that. And and they're just not ignoring it, but not reporting on it, right? Which is what they do. Here's a link to get Max in the debates if you want to sign the petition. And this is a direct link to the petition that will be in the description. And if it's not in the description, just search the name of the video on CanadaPoly.com. That'll bring you to my website and all of the links in the description. I've heard that some of my descriptions are empty. I fill all my descriptions with the links that I talk about. So if it's empty, that was done not by me. Here's the last story for the first video this morning. It is Mark Norman and what he's doing with the GoFundMe money. And, well, here it is. It says, Vice Admiral retired Mark Norman donates money raised on GoFundMe. After the government's agreement to cover legal expenses incurred by Vice Admiral Mark Norman during his legal battles with the government over the last 2 years, Norman is now refunding money collected on GoFundMe. I'm just going to scroll down because it's a lot of backstory, and if you've been watching my show, you know the backstory for Mr. Norman and what happened to him and the fact that he's now retired, etc. Anyway, I'll carry on here. It says, because the government agreed to cover Norman's costs, the former vice chief of the defense staff is looking to refund the money raised on the GoFundMe page. Supporters and friends can ask for a refund by August 23rd. For those not looking for a refund, Norman has decided to split the remaining money among 3 charities: Wounded Warriors, Support Our Troops, and the Royal Canadian Navy Benevolent Fund. So good job, Mr. Norman. What a classy move. I like it. I hope you enjoy your retirement, and I'm glad Trudeau's done screwing you around, because that wasn't appropriate. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful day, and check out the People's Party of Canada.ca.